Commercial concrete floors take a relentless daily beating. Between forklifts, loaded pallets, and constant foot traffic, the surface is under continuous friction. Raw, untreated concrete is essentially a rigid sponge. As machinery and boots scrape across it, those open pores break down and constantly shed microscopic silica dust into the air. That airborne dust settles on your inventory and clogs your HVAC systems. Your cleaning crews spend hours every week trying to mop and sweep a floor disintegrating, steadily driving up your daily janitorial labor costs. Managers try to cap this problem, throwing down cheap vinyl overlays or thin epoxy coatings, seeking a quick seal. Leaving the concrete raw or applying a cheap temporary fix fails to save the facility money. This converts what should be a one-time capital expenditure into an endless recurring operational overhead. To permanently solve the dust and durability problem, you have to look at concrete polishing. This creates a permanent mechanical transformation of the slab itself. The process starts with aggressive grinding using heavy diamond abrasives. We strip away the weak, porous top layer to expose the harder aggregate underneath. The immediate trade-off is the operational disruption. Heavy grinding generates intense noise, requiring professional industrial dust extraction systems running continuously to maintain safe work air quality compliance. Once the raw surface is exposed and prepped, we introduce the core chemical step, the application of a liquid chemical densifier. The liquid densifier sinks deep into the open pores, triggers a chemical reaction, and hardens the subsurface into a dense block. This proper curing takes 24 to 48 hours, but directly adds 10 to 15 years of usable lifespan. You are directly trading a strict, highly disruptive 2 to 4 day installation window for a permanent physical upgrade to your infrastructure. Facility managers have other upgrade options, most notably industrial epoxy coatings or commercial vinyl overlays. This chart plots upfront cost against lifespan. Vinyl and epoxy sit low on cost, but require total replacement within 3 to 7 years. Polished concrete's initial capital cost is higher, $3 to $8 per square meter, but its lifespan stretches past 15 years. There is a conditional trade-off. If your facility currently has a failing epoxy floor, stripping that old adhesive to create a clean canvas will significantly increase both your initial budget and your facility downtime. Polishing wins the financial comparison, but only if the business plans to occupy the physical space long enough to actually see that decade-long durability payout. Concrete polishing is not a one-size-fits-all process. The final finish must be strategically matched to your facility's specific safety and aesthetic needs. If we use a lower grit abrasive, you get a matte finish. The outcome is maximum slip resistance. The trade-off is that you lack a premium reflective shine. This is the ideal environment for a matte finish. In spaces like commercial kitchens or medical facilities, preventing slips heavily outweighs visual aesthetics. Conversely, polishing with an 800 grit or higher abrasive creates a high gloss finish. You get dramatic light reflection, but the surface becomes dangerously slippery the moment it gets wet. Managing a high gloss environment requires strict adherence to daily moisture control and the addition of anti-slip chemical treatments to remain compliant. Selecting a finish level dictates your facility's safety and regulatory compliance. Let's look at the chronological disruption. This Gantt chart maps the stages of a standard 4-day polishing project, explicitly highlighting the operational lockdown periods required for prep, grinding, densifying, and sealing. The logistical trade-off here is zoning. Facility managers must actively reroute staff and heavy machinery away from the work zones to avoid total operational pauses. Post-installation, strict maintenance protocols are the only way the floor will actually reach its 15-year lifespan. Your janitorial team must only use pH-neutral cleaners. Standard acidic cleaners will rapidly etch the concrete and permanently dull the polish. The most fatal error a maintenance crew can make is applying traditional floor wax to a polished surface. Polished concrete does not require wax. Applying it traps moisture inside the slab, destroys the breathable polish, and requires expensive professional extraction to fix. Achieving the promised ROI requires actively retraining your janitorial staff to abandon traditional harsh industrial chemicals and outdated waxing routines. The ultimate test of polished concrete's value is calculating the 10-year total cost of ownership against its competitors. This graph tracks the cumulative expenses of installation and ongoing maintenance for both polished concrete and epoxy over a decade. Follow the epoxy line. Right around year 5, the coating typically degrades and requires a full mechanical replacement, causing a massive spike in its total cost line. Over that same period, the polished concrete line remains relatively flat. It requires only minor, inexpensive annual reseals in high traffic zones. There is a massive disparity in daily cleaning costs between sweeping a dusty, untreated porous floor and maintaining a sealed, dust-free polished surface. Paying for the polishing process up front buys you out of aggressive daily maintenance and expensive 5-year replacement cycles. Here is a strategic framework to make the final decision based on your specific commercial environment. If you run a heavy machinery or warehouse facility, route directly to the matte polish. Your primary goal is dust reduction and durability. If you manage a client-facing space, select a semi- or high-gloss polish, where premium aesthetics convey quality to your customers. If you are in a short-term lease, keep the status quo or use vinyl. The high upfront cost of polishing will not be recouped before the lease ends. When deployed in the right environment, a successful polish creates a resilient, pristine surface that requires very little effort to maintain. Polishing your concrete serves as a proactive financial strategy to cut operational overhead for the next decade.